Hello guys, this is InfoRx. We are the tech experts. If you need tech-related information, subscribe our channel and click the bell button. Follow our social media pages. Okay, let's go to the topic. Apple Watch Series 10 review. Engadget has been testing and reviewing consumer tech since 2004. Our stories may include affiliate links. If you buy something through a link, we may earn a commission. Read more about how we evaluate products. Cherlin Low for Engadget Apple Watch Series 10. Review. Legacy and sequel in equal measure. How much should a fairly mature product change? Cherlin Low, Deputy Editor. Reviews Tuesday, September 17, 2024, 5:30 p.m. GMT plus 5:30. The Apple Watch has been around for 10 years. Looking at pictures of the device then, it might not seem like much has changed. Even the apps drawer seems identical. But subtly and quietly, the Apple Watch, the company's first new product line of the post-Steve Jobs era, has evolved to become capable of so much more today. Over the last few years, there have been some big leaps forward for the Apple Watches. Features up to and including wrist-based ECG and heart rate readings that were once the purview of science fiction. We've heard many testimonials, mostly from Apple at its events, about how the Apple Watch has saved lives, whether it be by detection of a fall or atrial fibrillation. Smartwatches as a category have matured and found their place, it seems, and the Apple Watch has carved out a comfy spot within the space. So, color me surprised when the Series 10 launched to very little fanfare last week. I guess I was expecting Apple to be a bit more self-congratulatory, but the company seemed to gloss over the product's birthday. Instead, we got to learn about the device's thinner profile and bigger screen with greater viewing angles. It also has smaller onboard speakers, apps for water sports enthusiasts, and health features like the new sleep apnea monitoring and alerts. It may sound underwhelming compared to the seemingly futuristic features we were seeing in the Apple Watch's early days, but the Series 10 is just following in the footsteps of the iPhone. This is a tough nut to crack. Between a big display, comfort, and great battery life, you only get to pick two. With most smartwatches, the Series 10 is the closest Apple's gotten to nailing all three. On top of having the biggest display of any Apple Watch ever, the Series 10 is the thinnest, lightest, and fastest charging. watchOS 11 also brings several training-focused fitness features to the device. The end result is the ultrification of the Series 10. It may not be the splashiest update, but if you can't wow him, you might as well make smart refinements. And that's the Series 10 to a T. A more wearable Ultra, the beginning of the Apple Watch, is nothing new. The original Apple Watch measured 38mm and 40mm. The Series 4 bumped that up to 40mm and 44mm. The Series 7 made it 41mm and 45mm. Today, the Series 10 measures 40mm and 46mm. Normally, I rail against the trend toward larger watches, but the Series 10's display is worth every millimeter. I say this as someone with crappy vision, small wrists, and sausage fingers. Bigger displays usually mean a less comfortable watch, but sometimes that's a worthwhile trade. A major reason I picked the Ultra 2 over the Series 9 as my daily driver was that the bigger display made reading texts and notifications so much easier. That's despite the fact that the Ultra 2 feels like a mini brick on my arm. It made such a difference, I was apprehensive about making the switch to the 40mm Series 10's slightly smaller display. Only the 46mm Series 10 is bigger than the Ultra. Turns out, I was worried for nothing. I haven't missed the Ultra's display at all. The Series 10 is about half the weight, and at 9.7mm thick, it's about 30% thinner than the Ultra, too. It fits easily under jacket cuffs, doesn't catch on the straps, and my Pilates class, and doesn't slide up and down my arm when I run. Plus, the on-screen buttons are slightly larger when I have press-on nails. It's not a total pain to enter my passcode or hit a complication. Apple Watch Series 10 specs material: aluminum with INX glass, titanium with sapphire. Glass processor: S10 SIP OS, watchOS 11 display. Always-on wide-angle old, 2000 nits connectivity, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, LTE dimensions, 40 to millimeters. 40 to millimeters by 36 millimeters by 9.7 millimeters. 46 millimeters. 46 millimeters by 39 millimeters by 9.7 millimeters weight. 40 to millimeters. 29.3 aluminum and 34.4 grams titanium. 46 millimeters. 35.3 grams aluminum and 41.7 grams titanium. Battery life: 18 hours with fast charging, 0 to 80% in 30 minutes. Sensors: optical heart rate monitor, EKG sensor, SpO2, accelerometer, gyroscope, light sensor, barometer, altimeter, temperature sensor, depth gauge, water temperature sensor, compass, GPS, built-in GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, QZSS, and Beidou. Water resistance: WR50, IP68 NFC. Yes compatibility, iPhone only. The Apple Watch is part of the company's wearables, home, and accessories unit, which reported $8.1 billion in revenue during the fiscal third quarter, down 2% from a year ago. CEO Tim Cook said at the time of the report that 2/3 of Apple Watch buyers are still new to the device. The Apple Watch Series 10, as its name implies, marks the 10th year of the Apple Watch. It's the best yet, even if some changes are minimal. What's good? The charging is great. The Series 10 has new coils under the back glass that charge it to 80% in 30 minutes. I could get plenty of juice for the day ahead by plugging it in while reading a book or taking a shower. A full charge lasts 18 hours, which has been standard since the Series 1. The screens are slightly bigger, which is nice for typing and selecting songs in a playlist or tapping buttons. I've been using my personal Apple Watch Series Ultra for the past couple of years and have adjusted to it, but the bigger display makes a big difference when you're trying to tap out a quick response to a text message. I like the new speakers that allow you to listen to podcasts, music, or audiobooks without using headphones. I don't find myself often in a spot without my phone or my AirPods, but sometimes I leave my phone charging downstairs. It was nice to keep listening to part of an audiobook I had started in the car while I was putting my clothes away after work. What's bad? The Series 10 is thinner than earlier Apple Watches, which weren't particularly thick. I'd be fine with the prior thickness if it meant longer battery life. That remains the biggest weakness. The Apple Watch Ultra and Ultra 2 are compelling in part because they offer up to 36 hours of battery life. It makes a huge difference when traveling or if you just forget to plug it in one night. There aren't a lot of big health upgrades. Apple is reportedly working on blood glucose monitoring or blood pressure monitoring for the Apple Watch. I wasn't expecting either this year, but I'm worrying about spending money on a device now only to have it outdated when big health features drop. Should you buy it? The Apple Watch Series 10 is a great first buy for the 2/3 of folks who are making a first-time Apple Watch purchase. You're getting a new chip, a bigger screen, a thinner design, and faster charging. Owners of a Series 6 or older might also see enough to justify an upgrade, but if you're into more extreme sports such as diving or hiking and need features including extra accurate GPS and support for deeper water submersion or just much longer battery life, I'd recommend the Apple Watch Ultra 2 instead. The Apple Apple Watch Series 10 brings some of the biggest changes to the company's popular smartwatch in years. It gets larger display options, a slimmer body, a faster charging battery, and audio playback via its built-in speaker. The 10th anniversary Apple Watch doesn't just get hardware updates, though. The Series 10 also introduces a bevy of software features via watchOS 11, including sleep apnea detection, the ability to pause fitness tracking when you're sick and don't want to feel guilty for not exercising, and a new Vitals app that tracks your health over time and tells you if important metrics like body temperature and respiration are off. If you're still sporting an Apple Watch Series 6 or older, it's easy to recommend that you upgrade to the Series 10, but if you've got an Apple Watch Series 7 or newer, it's more difficult to suggest making the leap to the Series 10. Your older watch will still get watchOS 11, and the difference between screen sizes is harder to discern unless you're looking at your old Apple Watch right next to the Series 10. That said, if you're in the market for a new Apple Watch, the Series 10 with its hardware improvements is the one to go with. Bigger screen, smaller body, more power. The Apple Watch Series 10 comes with two new size options, the $39,940 version and the $429 46mm model. That's 9% more screen real estate than the 41mm Apple Watch Series 7, 8, and 9, and 7% more than the 45mm Series 7, 8, and 9 I wear a 45mm Apple Watch Series 8 virtually every day, and it's pretty tough for me to spot the difference between the 46mm and 45mm displays. Yes, you get an extra line or so of text when reading text messages or news articles on the larger screens, but I wouldn't say that's enough to drop a few $100 on a new watch. It's a different story when you're coming from the older Apple Watches, though. Apple says the 40mm Series 10 has 30% more screen space than the 40mm version of the Series 4, 5, and 6, while the 46mm model offers a 25% larger display than the 40mm Series 4, 5, and 6, and if you're coming from the Series 2 or 3, you'll get between 75% and 65% more screen area. In those cases, you'll absolutely notice the larger display. Apple says the Series 10 screens now feature wide-angle OLED technology, making them easier to see at an angle, which is generally how people look at their watches. The Series 10 body is also 1mm thinner than the Series 7, 8, and 9 and offers a more rounded design than its predecessors. The result is a watch that sits more comfortably on your wrist. There's also a new speaker on the side that lets you play music from your wrist. It's not going to sound as good as it would coming out of your iPhone or AirPods, but it gets the job done if you're in a relatively quiet space and need some tunes. Don't try using it as your shower speaker, though. You won't be able to hear it. The Apple Watch Series 10 still gets the same 18 hours of battery life as last year's model, but Apple says it's refined the charging system so that you'll now get up to 8 hours of use from just 15 minutes of charge time and fill 80% of the battery in 30 minutes. That makes it far easier to use the Apple Watch to track your sleep at night, since you can now drop it on the charger while you get ready in the morning and have plenty of juice to power it throughout the day. In my experience, the Apple Watch Series 10's battery has lasted all day, overnight while tracking my sleep, and well into the next day before I needed to recharge it. Apple's watchOS 11, the latest version of the operating system that powers the Apple Watch line, includes a host of new features for the Apple Watch Series 6 and newer, as well as the Ultra, Ultra 2, and second-generation Apple Watch SE. The new Vitals app records your health stats while you sleep to provide you with an ongoing record of your overall general wellness. That includes your heart and respiratory rates, wrist temperature, and sleep duration. The idea is to give you a sense of what's normal for your body and provide you with a better understanding of what impacts your health and fitness, whether that's being sick or having a few too many adult beverages during happy hour. Apple has also added a training load feature that logs your overall effort while working out. Over time, you can see if you're pushing yourself harder or going to easy while exercising and adjust your workouts appropriately. I've been using training load for the past week and appreciate the ability to see when I've been working out too hard and when I've needed to step it up. watchOS 11 also includes a new check-in option that lets you send an alert to your close contacts when you finish a workout like an outdoor run. I was out for a run a few months back and was hit by a car, and while I was able to call my wife right away, check-in would have been incredibly helpful if I hadn't been, if she didn't get a check-in alert. In the normal time it usually takes for me to complete my run, she could have looked up my location in the Find My app to see what was going on. Apple is also rolling out a new sleep apnea detection function for the Apple Watch. The feature tracks micro-movements using the watch's accelerometer to determine if you're having trouble breathing. Every 30 days, the software will analyze your data to determine if you're experiencing sleep disturbances and alert you if you may be at risk of sleep apnea. You can then take that data to your doctor to further discuss the matter. It took years of me snoring at night before I finally went to get a sleep test to determine that I had sleep apnea, but if my watch had been telling me I had a potential problem, I likely would have gone out and gotten one sooner. That said, if you're already being treated for the disorder like me, this feature isn't for you. Better and bigger, I'm a big fan of the Apple Watch, partly because I like getting notifications without having to check my phone all the time, and because I love tracking my fitness activity. With its updated hardware and improved software, the Apple Watch Series 10 is the company's best iteration of its popular wearable yet. That said, it's not exactly necessary to upgrade if you're already rocking a Series 8 or newer. You've still got a great watch that will easily run watchOS 11 if you've got an older model. However, now is the time to consider making the jump to the latest model, especially if you're coming from a Series 6 or older. Now I'm off to test out the watch's sleep tracking feature a little more. It's for work, after all. Thanks for watching this video. Comment your opinion about this video. For more information, touch with us.